wilderness, beyond the last campfire's glow, lurks a mystery as old as the forests themselves. Welcome to Whispers of the Woodape, the podcast that explores all things Sasquatch. From legendary encounters to cutting-edge research, from ancient folklore to modern-day investigations, we're peeling back the layers of one of the greatest mysteries on Earth. So grab your gear, keep your eyes on the tree line, and join us as we dive into the world of the elusive Woodape. Because sometimes, the whispers in the woods are more than just the wind. Whispers of the Woodape, where the hunt for truth begins.
We are live. Joel?
Hello, hello.
How are you?
I'm doing well, brother. Doing well.
My partner in crime.
Absolutely.
Broadcasting Seeds. And
yeah.
This, folks, is actually a introduction to Whispers of the Woodape, which is going to be a weekly podcast of one form or fashion that is all about Bigfoot, mostly, because you can't get away from some other shit, but mainly cryptids and whatnot. And it is going to live on the Catskill Allegheny Research. Oh my God, what's the other C?
Center?
No, I always want to say consortium, but it's collective. That's it.
Okay.
So the CARC, which everyone make your fucking jokes, that's fine. But the Catskill Allegheny Research Collective YouTube channel. But I'll probably post it on Broadcasting Seeds too, just because why not?
Because why not, brother? Why not?
Because why not? It'll at least be on audio.
Okay.
It'll at least be on audio on Broadcasting Seeds, because I don't think we don't have at least not yet, with our buddy Gwen.
Yep.
We don't have a audio thing for CARC.
Okay.
That's all going to change.
We'll get there.
New sheriffs are in town.
Absolutely.
And I say sheriffs in the most,
Laxity.
loving way.
Yeah.
Because it's not a bad thing. She was kind of handed the keys to the kingdom with the CARC.
Yeah.
And
that stuff's difficult, man. It
is, man. And the guy who ran it, I can't remember his name, and I don't know him.
Okay.
Amazing job.
Yeah.
Like his graphics are on point, like way better than mine. Like amazing.
Okay.
Like his intros and stuff, dude, they're legit. You'll watch him and be like, hell yeah, let's go Bigfoot hunting. Like,
yeah. He knows how to get him going.
No, for sure, man.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of what's going on with this. It's a new beginning. And that's the goal. Weekly episodes for now.
100%.
Right?
Yep.
Now, other shows will still be on CARC or coming out on the CARC YouTube. I think Gwen Purcell, God Knockers, her show will either still be there, or I think they stream it. So there's some different things. This is a recorded show. I don't really do streaming, but we should maybe stream like maybe one night a month or one night or whatever, and invite people to like come on and just come on.
Yeah.
Like people we don't know, people from the audience, right?
Yeah. Do a lottery type of thing.
Or even people, just whoever shows up and like raises their, says, hey, but like, I know Bill Rigby with Agents of the Unexplained is streaming his shows to the CARC YouTube still. So there's still things happening. It's just changed.
Yeah.
Management, I guess. Is
the
right
shifting management.
Yeah. But it will still be cryptid facing, and I hope that you guys like the content. If there's anything that you want to see, then just let us know.
And we'll get after it.
And we'll do our best to get after it. So, this is kind of going to be a shorter episode than usual, probably about a half an hour, but I wanted to we are both in New York.
Yes.
So Joule, give us who you are and what you do, like your background and as much as you want to, whatever, sure. And explain where you come from and what you do and all those fun things.
I will give a full biography. So I'm Joule Matanos, obviously. I live in upstate New York in the Tug Hill area. I started off so I was born in Baltimore, moved to like Syracuse, Liverpool area around 2 years old. So I don't remember anything from Baltimore, obviously. I don't remember what I did yesterday half the damn time. So I ended up going to Liverpool High School, similar to most people in that area go there. It's a very large school, a graduating class of like 1,000 people.
Yeah.
And I was a troubled kid, man. I got into a lot of shit here and there, a lot of fighting, a lot of things I shouldn't have been getting involved in, but we're all kids once and we all make mistakes, man.
Stuff.
Yeah, man. But I ended up joining the Marine Corps pretty soon after high school. I tried college, didn't work out too well. When someone throws a pancake at your face, generally you respond. I responded a little too heavily, and that went downhill quickly. But the Marine Corps took me pretty quickly. I went in on the buddy program. We ended up getting split up just based on job titles. I wanted to go infantry, and I was dying on that hill, man. I was not moving from that job. That's all I wanted to do. So for those of you that don't know, 0311, 0331, 0341, all those 03 job specifications in the Marines are infantry guys. I was in 0331, which was a machine gunner. I did my time with 32 Kilo Company from 2011 to 2015. We were what's called the line platoon, which means we were on the ground, or a line company, I meant to say. So we were walking everywhere. We weren't in trucks or anything. The only thing we had for transport was like tracked vehicles. Honestly, we had a year and a half workup before my first or not a year and a half workup. It was about a year plus the 6 months spent in boot camp in SOI, School of Infantry, and then had about a year workup. Went on my deployment in 2013. And that was what's called a MU, Marine Expeditionary Unit, the 26th MU. So we bounced around all over the place, the Middle East, Africa, Europe. I got to do some pretty cool shit compared to the guys I was there. I'm Palestinian and Syrian. My dad is a refugee from Palestine. My mom's a Syrian immigrant. Both legally are in this country. And just
have been for years,
decades. And my dad's actually a doctor. He's a rheumatologist, and my mom was a biology and French teacher. And then she took care of us growing up. She raised myself, my brother, and my sister. So on that deployment, did a lot of interpreting because I speak pretty fluent Arabic. I'm not the best, but I can speak it pretty well and understand it. And you do what you do in the Marine Corps, man, and then you come home and shit stops, slows down, and things start to get a little difficult sometimes. So I had my bouts with fighting mental health, the mental health battle for a very, very long time. I mean, to this day, we still we deal with things as they come. I'm a lot better, obviously, equipped today than I was before. One thing that really drove me into doing what I do today, which is being a peer specialist with the VA, is the loss of my buddies to suicide, man. It's just one after the other. And in the beginning, it would destroy me. And then I started going to the funerals, and I started trying to talk to the families, and I started trying to keep up with all my buddies from the Marine Corps as much as I can. I know I'm missing some people, but I'm doing my best. And that drove me into this field because I couldn't sit back. Having 2 attempts on my own life myself, I couldn't just sit back and keep watching this happen. At the end of the day, we all deserve a second chance at life, or a third chance if you get lucky. And I think so. Like I wanted to find a purpose and find something meaningful. Working at warehouses, I was bouncing around job to job. I was destroying my body. I ended up getting back surgery when I was 26, and just, herniated discs, some nerve damage, all kinds of fun stuff. And that set me back a little bit, but it also gave me a lot of time at home to like work towards becoming a peer. So I did all the schooling, all that stuff. I took it very seriously because this affects me heavily. And I ended up, working a few years as a peer at another agency, and then the VA came calling, and I answered, man. Honestly, it was the best move I made at the time. And for me, working with vets is like my bread and butter. I understand the community very well, and I think I do a good job of trying to help people, live their lives the way that they want to, not the way that everyone tells them to, or how, society kind of makes you feel like you need to fit in these little squares and boxes. At the end of the day, our job is to take care of ourselves so that we can take care of other people. And for me, helping people helps me help myself, plain and simple. So that's kind of how, that's not kind of how, that is exactly how me and Bennett met. I was coming in for services at the time, and Bennett was just a cool fucking dude, man. And not only that, dude, the mystery behind you, like no one really knows what you did. Everyone knows you did wild shit. No one knows the extent of the wild shit. And that drew me in, man. And I remember the first time we talked, we clicked like that. And then, so we kind of went our separate ways for a while. We still kept up. You were one of the dudes that always reached out to me to see how I was doing. And I've always appreciated that, brother. That helped me a lot. And a lot of times.
Absolutely.
We ended up, so we started talking. One day you reached out to me, and it was like some shit had just happened to me. I don't even know how you like felt it or something. And you reached out to me, and it was like, dude, I can't believe this is, and we just ran from there. And the broadcast.
This is with the Bigfoot stuff, yeah.
Yeah. So we talked about it in a previous episode. There's an incident that happened in my house, and scared the ever loving shit out of me, man. Like
you, your wife, your dogs,
everybody, all of us. And that, it's just crazy to me that you called. No, I didn't tell anyone. No one. You know what I mean? Like it just happened. So oh shit. The way, and when I talked to you, it wasn't like, oh, fucking come on, man. Like, what do you mean? It was
like, wait a minute.
We were on the phone for 3
You're
hours.
Like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
This just happened.
Yeah. Yep. And that just sparked this like fire, to do this, broadcasting seeds. Our conversations turned into Bennett just doing what you do best, brother. Just being a machine and just cranking out content left and right. And I mean, the reality is like your work ethic behind this is impressive, man. I don't know many people that can do as much as you do, even outside of not just the podcasting, all the things that you're into.
Too much.
Yeah. Too
many things.
What was the saying? I'd rather have my hands full than nothing in my hands.
Something. I don't know.
Some shit.
Sounds good.
Yeah, it sounds good. Yeah. And not for nothing.
It's the best analogy I ever heard.
100%, brother. That's what I'm here for. But I think this has been also something like, dude, I'm not. This is a hobby of mine for sure. Like diving into these things, like researching different, we can call conspiracies, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
Looking at different like near death experience type situations and seeing how people have dealt, like what they've seen or experienced. And some of this stuff is undeniable, man. I mean, I've also in my own life have been a huge skeptic before. I didn't believe in any of this shit. I was, that's how I was raised, not to believe in these kinds of things. There's no ghosts and monsters, none of that. And then a few things happened in my life that legitimately rocked me to my core, and I couldn't ignore it anymore. Like the things that have happened in my life are, in my opinion, not coincidence. Everything has lined up. If I allow these events and these things to show me the things they're trying to show me or teach me, like, life can be pretty amazing.
Absolutely.
Like this is our gift, man. And not for nothing, I love, me and you could talk for 8 hours straight.
About a whole lot of nothing too.
Yeah, 100%.
Just nonsense.
And but I think what we're doing here is, I know there are a bunch of other podcasts out there doing these kinds of things, but I think you have a different approach to it. And I think that approach really opens the door for people to come to their own conclusions on what's going on. And because I think too often we hear people's opinions on things rather than the whole lay it all out for me. And I mean, it's at least in my opinion, I don't really see that very often. So, it's very opinion based, and we have our opinion.
As we know, opinions are like assholes.
Everybody's got one.
And they usually stink.
Yep.
Just saying.
100%, man.
You hear my dog or not?
Yeah. A little bit. Mine go. I'm surprised they're
little assholes.
But yeah, that's really how we got here. And then we've gone on. We went on a trip to Allegheny National Forest. That was pretty. I heard some weird shit out in the woods there.
Heard some monkeys in the forest, man.
Never in my life would I have expected to hear that shit.
Yeah, straight up monkeys. Yeah,
a gang of monkeys hollering at each other, and I was like, "What? How?"
Yeah,
we're in Pennsylvania, and I didn't know that monkeys, hung out in the woods there.
Pennsylvania.
Yeah, in Pennsylvania specifically. But again, it's just one thing after the other. But the reality is too, we're not we go into this logically. We're not going into this with
and skeptically too. I mean, we're not like hook, line, and sinker. I've heard that before. Yeah, I know what that is. Yeah, and in my opinion, I think it's a Bigfoot, or I think it's a whatever. Yeah, we don't go into it, and we're not dogmatic about it.
Nope.
And that's one of the things that I really, really try to focus on, is to not fluff things up with I ask questions. That's what I do. Hence the name Broadcasting Seeds. Now, obviously what we're doing here is the Whispers of the Woodape, but it's all part. I'm not changing who I am.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because at the end of the day, this is who I am. Mm-hmm. This is how I do work. This is how it is. I, too, was in the Marine Corps, started off in the Marine Corps. I'll give myself a little intro.
There we go.
Grew up in Illinois till I was 13 in rural Illinois. And the town I lived in had 7,000 people, and it was the biggest town in the county.
Wow.
Had a Bigfoot experience when I was young. Not that far from that town when I was in the Boy Scouts.
Mhm.
That's what started me down this whole rabbit hole.
Yeah.
That was my gateway drug.
Yep.
So with that being said, moved to Connecticut when I was 13. Went, played sports, all the things, the sports, all the things. Then joined the Marine Corps at 18, 17, and then shipped out when I was 18, literally like less than a month after graduation.
Mm-hmm.
And I chose that because I didn't want to go to college.
Yeah.
I got offered. I had offers to play soccer in college, and I turned them all down. And one day I was sitting in the guidance counselor's office, like lounge area, basically, and I'm literally reading an almanac. People don't know what those are anymore. But an almanac is just a book of facts, kind of like Wikipedia in book form.
Yeah.
Because that's what I do. I just read shit like almanacs.
Yeah.
So I watched this guy walk in, and he's got the coolest fucking uniform on ever. I'm like, wow, that guy looks sharp.
Yeah.
He sees me, makes a beeline for me, and goes, "Hey, son, what's your name?" Blah, blah, blah. I told him. My name is Bennett Tanton, by the way, because it doesn't show on there. Either way. Mm-hmm. And he says to me, "You ever thought about joining the Marine Corps?" I said, "Not until right now."
Yeah.
And actually, that's exactly what I said.
Yeah.
Not until right now. And he goes, "Wow, okay. Have you taken the ASVAB?" I said, "What's the ASVAB?" And so he sets up, it's kind of like the SATs for the military, for those that don't know. So I took the ASVAB. I did very well. And I could have had any job that I wanted. And I actually went into the Marine Corps as an open contract.
You are a wild human being.
I didn't choose anything. I knew that I wanted to be one of two things, and they couldn't be any more different. I either wanted to be infantry, or I wanted to be a cook.
That is the opposite end.
Because I almost went to culinary school.
Okay.
This close.
Okay.
Because I love to cook, and if you can see me, I look like I like to cook too. So either way, I did the Marine Corps. I was a reconnaissance Marine in the Marine Corps, and this was 1992 to 1996. I am older than I look. Joule tells me all the time. So that's fine. But I joined the Marines in 1992. I deployed to a lot of places. It was, the Clinton years, and we had a lot of stuff going on. From Somalia to Haiti to lots and lots of drug interdiction. So I deployed a lot of places. Did a float to the Med, a couple different things, right?
Yep.
But I got out in 1996 and got a job as a stockbroker.
It's good stuff.
I actually had that job before I got out of the Marine Corps. So I was a stockbroker. I did that, went up to New York on Long Island. I got my Series 7 in a month. Mm-hmm. And people are like, "Wait, what?" So anyone that knows, it's a tough test. I had the knack for it. So I was able to do it. And I was basically worked in a boiler room for 3.5 to 4 months. And it was literally like a movie. It was unbelievable. And I was married at the time, but we were on rocky, had a daughter, and we were probably getting divorced anyway. But what ended up happening is I was like, this is not for me. Mm-hmm. Plus, she had decided she wasn't going to move up there.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right. So I just quit and went back to North Carolina. Mm-hmm. Worked as a police officer for a little while. Decided I'm not built to do that either.
Yep.
And put that back in the way.
Yeah, of course.
And I actually worked secured. I was a loss prevention manager for a store called Rose's, which still exists, but barely. I think there's like 4 of them.
Okay.
But either way, Rose's stores, I was a loss prevention manager, and I covered stores from around Wilmington, North Carolina, all the way down to Myrtle Beach. I had like 6 stores, I think.
That's
something
awesome.
like that. No, it wasn't. It was awful. And I made like 26 grand a year.
Oh.
Yeah, it was awful. Yeah. And I mean, I had like a company credit card and stuff to like do like gas and whatnot, but 26 grand a year, man.
Mm-hmm. To run.
This is 1996, 97.
Okay.
Yeah. And then, ended up getting a divorce and just decided, the end of 97.
Yeah.
Decided I am going back into the military. So I went and I talked to the Marine Corps recruiter. They're like, yeah, we'll put you back in as a Lance Corporal, because I had already made my corporal. They're like, we'll put you back in as an E3. And I was like, the hell you are. So it was just a matter of principle to me.
Yeah.
I hadn't been out that long.
Yeah.
So I guess it, it was over the limit, but whatever. I was like, and I didn't want to do recon anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. I can understand that.
I just didn't. I didn't want to go through that again. I didn't want to go, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
No thanks.
No ANS. You don't go through selection again. None of that stuff.
All that crap. Right.
Yeah.
So I was like, no. So I went right across the hallway and talked to the Army recruiter. And I chose infantry because that's what they offered me.
Yeah.
Because they didn't have to train me.
Yeah.
Bottom line is, I went, and once everything went through, I'm like, my ASVAB was accepted. I had to lose a little weight and pass the PT and do some, minor stuff. But within a month, I was like, had my MEPS day
ready to go
to leave. And I literally went from sitting on my couch one day in Wilmington, North Carolina, to being in Fort Drum, New York, as a specialist in the United States Army within like 12 hours.
Wow.
It wasn't, there's no not pass
camp.
go, do not collect 200 hours, do not go to boot camp, do not go to ARS. What? It's not ARS.
AIT, I think it is.
AIT, whatever. None of that. I had no uniforms. 0. I showed up. I had like a day's worth of scruff because, you've spent the night. But I didn't even have the money at the time to buy razors or anything. So
Jesus, man.
I got up to Fort Drum, which is in the middle of nowhere and way upstate New York. It's 28 miles from the Canadian border.
Yeah.
And I'm coming from North Carolina, and it's in April. They had just got done with a crazy ice storm, and I was in the Army, and I had no uniforms for like a couple days.
Dude.
Till I went down to cash sales. I got all brand new stuff.
Yeah.
It was awesome. And then I was in the Army until I was in Alpha Company 287 my entire time I was in the Army. Went to Bosnia. I deployed to Bosnia in the Marines too. Went to Bosnia, went to Egypt. I was in Egypt during 9/11, which was
can't even imagine.
It was bizarre.
Yeah.
Especially once we invaded Afghanistan, because then protests.
Yeah.
But whatever.
Yeah.
You're in a Muslim country and we're attacking a Muslim country, and it's
doesn't
just
look good.
But either way. But that's the reason we were in Egypt is a whole nother
kit and caboodle
that nobody even knows about. Half the world doesn't even know why. That at any given moment, even right now, there's a battalion of U.S. Army infantry just sitting on the border between Israel and Egypt. And there's a battalion of Fijian infantry and a battalion of Colombian infantry.
Like Fiji?
Fijian. Fiji. Yes. The island of Fiji. Yeah, buddy. No one even knew they had an army, did they?
No.
But anyway.
Yeah.
So like we hear about, all this crap going on in the Middle East, and there's this and the posturing. They're all still under treat. There's a whole foreign, like a brigade's worth. It's actually a brigade and a half's worth of troops.
Yep.
Sitting on the border between Egypt and Israel.
That is wild.
Now, I'm sure things have changed. I'm sure there's some changes, but in 2001 and 2002, that's how it was, because that's when I was there.
Yep.
But either way, got out of the Army in 2003, and then, I played the veteran game. Yeah. I actually got a first job I got out was selling cars. Then I got into the nuclear industry for about 10 years, 11 years in nuclear security.
Yep.
Then I decided I didn't want to carry a gun for a living anymore. And then that's when I became a peer.
Yep.
We actually left upstate New York because I married a local girl. We left who is from Joule's hometown.
Yep.
They went to the same high school, just not at the same time. And, we moved down to North Carolina. I became a peer, and then we hopped around the East Coast for a bit and then I didn't work as a peer. I worked for the Air Force for a while as a civilian. So it's like I've been in all the services.
Literally everything.
And then we moved back. We moved from North Carolina to Florida, from Florida to Delaware, where I worked that was my first VA peer job, was at the Delaware VA, and I worked there for like a year, maybe.
Okay. And
then I got a job. We decided to move home back to New York. And I got a job in Canandaigua, and I worked there on the veterans, not the crisis line, the homeless. HUD-VASH line. So I worked as a I can't remember what the job title was.
Sure.
But helping homeless folks when they called.
Yep.
And then I got the job as a peer for the Voc Rehab initially.
Because that's where I met you, I believe.
Yeah.
Yep.
For Voc Rehab, vocational rehabilitation at the Syracuse VA. And then I moved from there to the PRC, the psychosocial
recovery center.
There it is.
Yeah.
And so I had that job. Right. So I had that job for a while, and then I left that and worked for the National Guard for about
never ends, brother.
I worked for the National Guard doing I was a military or family, some sort of family. Basically I helped.
Family readiness officer?
Yeah, family readiness specialist or something. Okay. And helped the families of folks that were deployed and whatnot. And I didn't last that long there, maybe a year, and then I left, and I've been on my own ever since. And in those times I started a couple companies, sold a couple companies, had a couple podcasts, sold some podcasts, things like that. Just, and now I basically podcast. I have two companies besides the podcast, two other companies that I work either one I work, and then the other one I'm really just like a board member and good idea fairy. For them. And that's in the defense industry. And then I work for Montana State University remotely, which is bizarre. I'm not even going to go in what we do exactly, but it's basically about bringing manufacturing back to the United States. Or helping that happen. Not just the United States, helping manufacturing in the United States. And that's it. And I like to research and try and chase down Bigfoot, plus all the other stuff. I'm paranormal. Like I can't just lock it down. I can't do one. I'd probably be more successful if I did, but oh well, I can't help that. So
wealth is in the eyes of the beholder, brother.
True. So Joule and I have a research area here in New York that we call the Broken Bridge Research Area, right? Center.
Yep. BBRC.
There isn't a center. There isn't a center yet, but there will be.
Yeah.
At some point when we build it.
Yeah.
There's a tent there right now.
Update on the tent. It is no longer viable.
Good. Well, we were waiting. It only took like a year and a half, 2 years for it to.
Dude, I slept in it.
Yeah.
It was.
And that was that was like a year after it had been set up.
Just about. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
and it was like a $40 tent.
Yeah. I mean, it withstood the elements somehow, some way.
Good. So there's no tent. But there's a fenced in area because we don't want Sasquatch to mess with us because they're here, period. There is a piece of property up in the Tug Hill and it's got a nice stream that runs through it. That's even got fish in it. There's deer all over the place. There's farmland. We are within half an hour drive of one of the largest salmon fish. Well, the largest salmon fishery in New York State.
Yep.
We have a lot of salmon in New York State.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
And it's literally not even, man. I think if by the way the crow flies, it's 10 miles probably to Salmon River. From me? Yeah, to the reservoir.
Yes. Just about. Yeah. It's like 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah, right around in there. And yeah, man. So you got that.
I was going to say, I can give a little history on it. So, at least the property in the area. So my wife and I bought it in 2019, I believe. Yeah. We've been here about 5 years. And it's 94 acres, with, like Bennett said, with a river running through it. And it's got a multitude of, what are we going to call this? The terrain changes drastically, 3 or 4 different times. So when you're on one side of the river, it's a whole different forest compared to the other side. So what ended up happening was back in the 1800s, there was a lot of farming here. All the property back there, and you see the old stone walls where we found that pile of shit on there.
Yeah.
That made no sense whatsoever. So there was all these walls, rock walls, just built up to separate the farmland, and all of that forest is new. It doesn't. I mean, no one. You can't really tell if you don't.
Well, it's all deciduous too. It's all deciduous forest on this side.
Yeah,
of
closer to
the river,
closer to the road.
Right.
And so what? Again, when my wife and I bought this back in 2019, we had no idea what we were getting ourselves into. We'd never lived out in the sticks before. We've been at that time. Well, we've been married 11 years now, but at that time, we'd had a couple places, but they were never in a rural area like this. And honest to God, it was the best decision we ever made, man. This is a godsend. Not only that, this is where I have had the experiences, just strange. Again, I cannot explain what happened that night. And
the way I explained it is, I am 900% sure.
Yeah.
that he got bluff charged.
So, and there's a piece of this that I completely forgot to point, and my wife actually pointed it out. She listened to the episode, and she was like, "You didn't even say." I thought I talked about it. I guess not.
Dude, this is one of those things. Before you get into it,
yeah.
This is one of those things that I'm telling you. Mm-hmm. When people have experiences, they forget things.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because of trauma. It could be because of just, adrenaline dump. There's all kinds of reasons why they remember things after, or just forget things in general, little things, but little things that mean things, or, who knows why.
Yeah.
Is it because it could be a million different things? But
100%. And just so everyone knows, my wife keeps me honest. So whatever I'm telling you is legit, because I know she's listening to it, And
Yeah.
even without that, man, the whole point of doing this is to create trust between each other. Like, we're just telling you what we're experiencing and what we think about it.
Right.
And so the next morning, you couldn't see anything, obviously, that night. We had a fire. I know we talked about it. But we had a fire. We were sitting out there, and it sounded out of nowhere around like midnight-ish. It sounded like the woods were collapsing. I don't even know the sound. It was like something like a bulldozer pushing through the forest. couldn't comprehend what could possibly be coming that massive. What I forgot to say was the next morning. So after that, we went inside. The dogs went silent. It was the weirdest. It was a strange feeling, man. And both of us were like, "What the fuck just happened?"
And they have big dogs that bark at everything.
Great
Pyrenees. And those dogs were like, "Nope, I want nothing to do with any of this."
Tails tucked. They were up to the door to get in the house before we got there. Because I just started backtracking, grabbed her, and I just started getting her to the door. At the end of the day, I want to protect her if I can, regardless of what it is. I know I'm not gonna put fucking fight up, but Jesus Christ, man. And in my head, I was like, I'm fucked. There's no fucking way. No matter what that is.
Yep.
And the next morning, we went out, and there's a tree that's butted up to the fence where that what I believe could have been a Sasquatch, ran up to the back. Like the top of the tree was pressed down, and and the day before, not like that. The day after, it was completely just like mushed and pressed down, and it's one of those. I don't remember. I don't know exactly what it is, but it attracts butterflies and bumblebee. It's like a big, like flowery bush looking tree, and it was completely pressed, and like branches
just mashed,
and branches were breaking off of this thing. Like the whole, just branches crunching, and the branches from that tree being crunched down, and that's why I thought something was gonna come through the fence, because the tree was falling apart.
Yeah. Right.
Dude. And the next morning there's branches. It looked matted down and broken. And I'm glad she reminded me, because the reality is like that fact alone is like, whatever. My fence is like 7 feet tall. It would have had to be like 12 to 15 feet and reaching over the fence and either like pushing down on it. I hope it was its arm, not its leg, because if it was its leg, then we're dealing with a whole different ball game.
Like,
you know what I mean?
Straight Nephilim.
Yeah. Then at that point, I'm building a bunker here, and I might have to go somewhere. But that just terrified me, man, and but terrified me in a way that, like, how the military terrified me.
Yeah.
Like the intrigue and the curiosity outweighs the fear when it comes to these things, because the reality is I don't have any bad intentions with this. I just want to know. And I want to see, see behind the curtains when it comes to life. Like, I'm tired of being blinded with things. So
absolutely.
And I know it's out there, whatever. I love this shit. I don't care. Like you said, I'll let my freak flag fly, man. This is
absolutely.
We're not hurting anybody doing what.
No, and we're not. And I mean, we've had some other little incidents, nothing crazy, but we've only been on the front side of the property. We haven't even been to the back to look back there, and nobody's been back there for years. Because something. This is why it's called Broken Bridge. Mm-hmm. Something tore down the bridge.
Yep.
And I'm convinced something tore it down, but I mean, maybe not, but I'm pretty convinced. The other thing that gives a lot of credence to what's going on here is there was literally 3 years ago, there was a Bigfoot sighting, Class A sighting, about 1.5 miles from this property.
Yep.
So, yeah,
It's
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So maybe 2 miles, something like that. It's not very far.
The area that it was seen is very close to my house.
Yes. Yeah. So,
and all the woods interconnect.
Yes, they're all 7.5 foot entity, whatever being Sasquatch.
Yeah.
Cinnamon color. We've never seen anything, but now we know that maybe one of them in the area is cinnamon.
Yeah.
But and then even a little bit farther out, there was another sighting. There's been sightings there for decades in that area.
Yeah.
So yeah. And it just makes sense. It's target rich. It's food rich. There's so much food there, and it's year round food.
Yeah.
There's not, there's deer, there's all kinds of stuff. So, that's where we do a lot of our researching. Say that again.
Fruit trees and bushes.
Apples everywhere.
Yeah.
Pears too.
Pears. I got peaches growing, like all kinds of fun things going on around here.
So yeah, man, upstate New York, north of Syracuse, south of Watertown.
Yep.
But so right in the Tug Hill, where you've got about 100 and something inches of snow already this year, which is not normal.
No, this is unbelievable.
I mean, it's usually pretty damn snowy, but it's not like this.
Not like this.
Not like this. This is
5 feet. 5 feet. Like it was up to my chin. I couldn't believe it.
It's ridiculous. Yeah, you had to hire somebody to come plow you out because
I had to hire a front loader to come scoop out the snow and remove it because I couldn't leave for work.
Just crazy.
Yeah.
So this is where we're dealing. This is where we do most of our research stuff, but we also go down to the Allegheny National Forest.
Yep.
We're actually going in April.
Yep. Can't wait
to do some stuff. Not just Bigfoot though. But
all kinds.
We heard some crazy stories.
Yeah.
That we're gonna investigate with some other friends of ours, and then I know we'll probably go there in October again too.
Yep. Yep.
But after the Jamboree.
Yeah.
So we'll stop in for like 2 or 3 days. 2 days. We'll go to the Jamboree for like 2 days and go to the
woods.
Allegheny. Go to the woods for like 2 days.
Okay. Sounds good, man.
In October. But I mean, this is what we're doing. So we are going to tell these tales, probably have some guests to tell their stories. And hopefully we have a whole bunch of stories for you guys about this. I mean, we'll have Bigfoot stuff.
Yeah.
Sasquatch things to talk about every week, but maybe it'll just be our own research. You never know. So that's cool. So yeah. Anything else you want to say, Joule?
Yeah, actually. A lot of what we're doing too, I would imagine is like trying to create a community around this as well. Not just veterans, not just Sasquatch lovers, we want everyone, even the skeptics. We welcome the skeptics and the people that don't believe us and think that we're like talking out of our asses. Come out and have a conversation. You know what I mean? I'm not worried about it. I know what's happened. I know what has happened. I know what I've experienced. I've made a living off of telling people the truth and like the deepest, darkest parts of my life. Literally. So, I can't really afford to be bullshitting here. And that's not something I'm willing to do. And this could, if nothing else, this can create just something for people to look forward to in a community that people can be open and communicate with each other and give them something like some purpose again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just get together. At the end of the day, we're all human. And there's a reason we're doing this, man. We felt a call into it.
And I know part of this is therapeutic.
100%, man. It
is. It's get you out in the woods, get you moving.
100%.
Get your mind moving.
Why,
you know,
are those bad things? I don't
no.
think so.
And having crazy conversations with people at the minimum.
Yeah.
So,
And the experience alone, like going out, if nothing happens, like nothing happened up until the monkeys in the woods, and that was more than enough for me to be like, holy shit.
yeah, it's one of the things I've noticed is it's the third day.
Yeah.
The third day is when stuff happens. For me at least.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it's been.
Yeah.
So,
and we're documenting all this. So we're going to be going out to the woods and going to these conventions and going and talking with people. Like we're diving right in.
hardcore.
Mm-hmm.
Lovely. All right, man. So I think this has been at least you guys know who we are now.
Yeah.
And
right in.
You might get sick of us, but not going anywhere.
Sucks to suck. Yeah.
So,
oh shit.
So yeah. So, if you want, like, share, subscribe to the podcast, to the YouTube, to all the things, whatever.
Wherever you can
buy
find
merch, buy stuff, whatever. You know, if there's things that you want us to do, let us know.
Yep.
Places that you want us to investigate, let us know. Especially if you're in the New York, Pennsylvania area and you've got issues, let us know.
Yep.
And maybe we can help, or I'm sure we know somebody that can help. So,
yeah.
All right. So
absolutely.
That's it. Signing off this episode. And, Joel, thanks.
I appreciate you, brother.
And we will talk to you guys soon.
All righty.